Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Dallas Daily Show podcast, coming at you from the Neighborhood Loan Studio here in St. Louis, Missouri. Today's episode is the best chiropractor in the world. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. So just recently I was visiting a chiropractor, and a couple of people heard me talk about this recently on a keynote. If you were part of the audience down there in Texas, I was talking about this idea that I had gone to this chiropractor, and he was helping me make a few, adjustments inside of my neck and inside of my back and a couple other places. And like I'd been dealing with some shoulder stuff, so he was actually popping some things back into place. But here's what he said to me. I'd gone to see him multiple times, and he said, Dallas, this is very important for you. I need you to go out and find a physical therapist as well. And I asked him why, and he said, well, it's very simple. I can continue to adjust you, but a physical therapist is actually going to help you because your muscles have kind of formed into a certain habit, into a certain behavior. For instance, my shoulders roll forward a little bit naturally. So for me to get them back on my shoulders a little bit, he said, you're going to need to see a physical therapist who's going to help you move differently, because I can make all the adjustments over and over and over again. But if the muscle memory keeps pulling you out of alignment, y'all are already ahead of me on where we're going with this today. If the muscle memory keeps pulling you out of alignment, you're just going to come back and keep seeing me over and over and over again. And here's why I said he's the best chiropractor in the world. He said, I don't want you to come see me for the next 20 years every couple times a week. I don't need you to be a recurring customer. I want you to get better. Just a quick show of hands, unless you're driving 10 and 2, baby, 10 and 2. But a quick show of hands. How many of you have ever actually worked with someone who said, hey, I don't want to continue to have to work on you for the next few years. I actually want you to get better. That was pretty honest. And now maybe Taylor, maybe it's because he was like, I actually just don't want you in my office anymore. Maybe he was like over it. He was like, please go away, go see someone else. Maybe that was his thinking. But actually, this guy's a very honest chiropractor, and he's a very honest dude. And he's like, look, I see a lot of people who over and over just come in here and I make adjustments regularly, but those are folks who are not willing to make the change. But for people who I understand are willing to make the change, I tell them, go see a physical therapist so that you can begin to move differently, change your muscle memory, and actually not have to deal with these issues in the future. You can imagine exactly what my thinking is right now. You've been listening to this show for the last 20-something episodes. You know exactly where we're going with this. Where in your life, I'm going to look at camera too. Where in your life, my friend, have you been stuck in the rut and you find yourself drifting back into old patterns? Where have you found yourself going back to, quote, old muscle memory? That's what I want you to think about today. What I want you to think about is there are things in your life that you have to say, no, I always move into this environment and it always falls into the same pattern. I fall into these same triggers. I fall into these same routines. It's because you have muscle memory, environmental muscle memory, emotional muscle memory, right? Relational muscle memory. And what it does is it's pulling you out of alignment. So every now and again, you go to a coach or you go to, you listen to this show and you get a little pop crack in your neck and you feel great for a while and you're like, but then you find yourself in the old environment, find yourself in the old trigger, find yourself in the old belief behavior cycle, and you are back out of alignment again. So my challenge for you today is, where in your world can you begin to shift your movement? Can you go to physical therapy, quote unquote, on your emotions, your environments, your relationships, the financial situation, the health situation, all the triggers, right? There's usually only about 10 to 12 triggers that I teach people. And once you can learn to do those, you can let go. We were talking about this whole last week, right? You can let go of certain things so that you can grab hold of a future that you ultimately want to become. So this entire week, we're going to be talking about this concept of adjustments on the show, how to make adjustments. And I wanted to have the conversation here first because what I want you to think is the way you move into your world, sometimes it's through old muscle memory. And I would challenge you to accept the idea that what might be possible for you is something amazing if you can begin to roll your shoulders back, proverbially speaking. If you can begin to stand up a little straight, if you can not jut your neck forward when you go into that environment, right? Lock your jaw every time you see that person. Now, I'm talking proverbially, right? But we have muscle memory of emotion, muscle memory of psychology. We have old, let's use a psychoanalytical term for it, right? You have old neural pathways. What are some new ones that you can begin to wire together and fire together so that you can get out of the old patterns and toward a new you? You can literally walk in your world in a new way. And you don't have to keep going back to adjustment. So your positive play call today is actually a question I want you to ask yourself. You're going to ask yourself, where do I need to change the way I move through my world? Now, I know that's a lot of words in a big sentence. I had to use 2 cards originally to write it because I messed up the first one and didn't put it in the right amount. But that's the question is, where do I need to change the way that I move through my world? The reason I'm having you ask the question today, rather than make the statement like on Friday's episode, it was stir it up. It was 3 words and an exclamation point, right? But on this today, I'm having you ask the question because I want you to ponder what change is necessary for you. I want you to ponder this question because our brains do a fascinating thing. When we present it with a question or a problem, our brains will actually solve it for us. It'll go to work. It's a problem-solving mechanism, so it will go to work to solve it and to solve it efficiently. So where do you need to make the change? Where do you need to crack the neck, pop the joint? Where do you need to stop doing the small-term adjustments and start making some long-term changes in the way you move into your world? All right, so that's all I got for you this week. Again, or today. This entire week, though, that's what I meant to say. This entire week, though, we're going to be talking about this concept of adjustment. So the question is posed today because hopefully we'll give you more opportunities to answer it throughout the week. Go to the website, my friends. Do what you need to do. Again, get your positive play call cards. Get all the other resources we have for you at DallasDailyShow.com. And listen to my son's cute voice on this outro because he's pretty adorable. All right, my friends, go out there. Have a championship day.
Thanks for listening to my dad's podcast. For more tools, go to DallasDailyShow.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.